What's up, guys? It's a new decade, millennium, decade, century. 2020, it's the future. We have hoverboards, we have new rash guards, we've got Cuz with the thing on his nose, he's been smashed. We're going to do a breakdown of the Aleksei Oleinik fight from the UFC of the weekend, the armbar that Joe Rogan definitely thought he couldn't finish. Joe gave him the kiss of death. We all know that as soon as Joe says, oh, he's going to get out, the guy taps. And he started from half guard. I'll kind of show you from a few angles, and then we'll bring the wall into it because the wall was crucial. Okay, the wall really screwed Aleksei's opponent. So he started in half guard, Aleksei was punching, there was some punches, he threw an elbow, and then he drove into a mount position. Okay, we'll bring the wall into play in a second. Aleksei's opponent tried to bridge, and he gave away this arm, and he also gave away the leg position underneath here. Aleksei stepped over, and instead of falling backwards, he went through with it to a seated position, and his opponent tried to jump over. Okay, so eventually the opponent only got halfway. I forget the guy's name, I'm sorry. He only got halfway because of the wall, right? So Aleksei in the end finished the armbar. So what he tried to do to escape was push off the wall. So as Aleksei drove to mount, he tried to push off the wall and roll him over. So what happened was something like this. Wall's here, Aleksei was in half guard, he drove through to mount, and he tried to run off the wall and do like a turnover or something. But what happened instead was he ended up spinning himself and getting to here, right? And because in that moment where he tried to escape, he turned his body to be pointing more towards the cage. And because the octagon came away from here, when Aleksei went for his armbar, the natural defense of jumping over became blocked by the cage. All right, so he ended in a situation where, against the cage, so if we go against the wall, you point your head to the wall. Once he got into that rolling armbar, here, yeah, come up. As he tries to jump over me, my cameraman adjusted the camera angle, he can't go anywhere, right? If he rolls forward like this, it doesn't help. What he wants to do is step over my head without turning his upper body and falling. That's falling. Yes, he wants to do this. And then he's going to be able to come up. And now, look, stop. Do you see? This is what he wants. I don't have a finished position for the armbar anymore. His arm has been completely rotated. Okay? So what stepping over like that does is, instead of turning my own arm, so my arm bends the other way, you turn your entire body so that the elbow bends the wrong way. Okay? But because of him pushing off of the wall, he ended up turning in such a way that he blocked his own escape later, so he screwed himself. Okay? If he hadn't done that, and Aleksei had tried the armbar from the position he was in previously, jumping over would have been towards the center of the cage, and he would have been able to do it, and maybe would have succeeded, maybe would have slipped out. So a few people were saying, like, you know, Aleksei's grappling wasn't that good, or some were saying, yeah, it was perfectly fine. He won. He won. It was fine. He's an MMA grappler. Is he top tier grappler in the world? No, but he's a good MMA grappler, and he got the job done. There's a couple things when I do rolling arm bars that I like to do slightly differently, and I would have done differently to him. I wouldn't have put my leg underneath. I feel like it traps myself, and I wouldn't have put my leg over the face. I like to put my shin across the back of the head. So I'll show you that now. So if we go mount, you kind of point your head that way, I think. So as the guy tried his escape, he lifted his hips up in a bridge and turned that way. And Aleksei kind of got this leg trapped underneath. I'm not a huge fan of this. As he goes to that position, as he bridges, I would rather take technical mount. All right, so I would rather I would rather end in a situation like this, because then I'm always free to jump into my mounted triangles, my arm bars. I don't get bound up, trapped underneath the guy, okay? Then the other thing is, as we go into our roll, I like to keep my shin in front of the head. As Aleksei went, what he did, lift your hips. What he did was, as he went, he stepped, and then he almost turned the wrong way, and then he saved himself and he came back. All right? Now this will work, but there's potential counters in this position. Okay? One of the counters is he takes his left hand, pushes my foot down to the ground, pops his head out, and he starts posturing and really exploding. So for MMA, especially at the heavyweight, heavyweight guys, I'm not a huge fan of that particular type of position here, where he pushes down on my foot and he starts to posture. It makes jumping over so much easier. It makes ripping the head out easier. If we come back, if I instead go to here, he tries to push down now, and I have a very good control of his head, where I'm able to turn him over, and we don't quite fall into the camera, but almost. And we're able to do that. So I have a video on the rolling armbar, the way I like to do it. So I don't like to trap my own leg underneath, and I like to keep my leg controlling the head with the shin across the back of the head. It makes just access to it so much easier if it's in front of me, where Aleksei put it. But he got away with it. His opponent tried to jump over, got stuck, didn't complete the movement, and then Joe Rogan gave him the kiss of death, said he was going to get out. He didn't, okay? So, really good performance again by Aleksei. It wasn't another Ezekiel, so something a little bit different. What's he got, like 10, 20 Ezekiel wins or something in MMA history now? Crazy, but good armbar. All right, so 2020, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.